Assassin's Creed Mirage Infinity and beyond. Announced last year, Infinity is a centralized hub for Assassin's Creed games, and while the team is still investigating how it will incorporate Assassin's Creed's past, it's clear that the future will live on in this new platform. Red and HEXE will be the first mainline games incorporated into Infinity, but they won't be the only things to look forward to. As Côté teased during the showcase, Assassin's Creed multiplayer is coming back. Codenamed Invictus, the new take on multiplayer will be incorporated as a standalone experience within Infinity. We have the chance with Infinity to make everything available for our players at the top level, says Côté. A place where they can go from one experience to another to think about our games differently and give them a singular focus. Red and HEXE are single-player games. They don't have any multiplayer components. Our focus is on delivering exceptional open worlds with very captivating stories. Now, this opens up the opportunity for us to think differently about multiplayer and making it available at the top level in the hub, and in potentially more ways than one. This is only the beginning of the return of multiplayer. Ubisoft hasn't formally confirmed a release window, either. What it has suggested, however, is that we can expect it around the upcoming Assassin's Creed codename Red, which doesn't have a release date either but is likely still a few years away yet. In an interview with Eurogamer, Ubisoft's Marc-Alexis Côté said that the plan is for it to be available at the same time as Red. The idea is that while new Assassin's Creed games will still be available as separate boxed products, if you install them, the first thing you're going to see is the Infinity Hub, and that will launch Red or HEXE. When Assassin's Creed Infinity launches, it looks like it could leave last-gen consoles behind. Speaking to VGC, Marc-Alexis Côté said, "We wanted to mark a change technologically and gameplay-wise as we're moving to a fully next-gen, or current-gen, I guess we call it, with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X." Standalone multiplayer is a new concept for Assassin's Creed, and Côté thinks it's the right path forward as fans sometimes worry that the inclusion of multiplayer in a traditionally single-player game will divert valuable time and resources. Now, Côté can ensure that games like Red and HEXE can worry solely about building excellent single-player experiences, while the team working on Invictus can fully invest themselves into creating new multiplayer experiences. For our games in Period 3, we're prioritizing focus, so you can expect each one of these initiatives to know exactly what it wants to achieve and to be a top performer in the market it wants to attack, says Côté. People have asked for the return of multiplayer, but they've also asked for us not to compromise the quality of our single-player experiences. By making sure that we have different teams that are in charge of these experiences, and unifying them at the Infinity Hub level, we can fulfill those two desires. Infinity will be the home of Assassin's Creed's future, but it will be far more than just a game launcher. In the lore of Assassin's Creed, memories are experienced through a device called the Animus that allows users to explore the genetic memories of an individual's DNA. Infinity aims to bring this Animus experience to our real-world PCs and consoles. Assassin's Creed puts out a lot of content, be it robust DLCs like Assassin's Creed Odyssey's Fate of Atlantis, free cross-game content like Assassin's Creed crossover stories, or massive expansion content like Dawn of Ragnarok, and players might not always be able to keep up. Infinity allows all that content to live in one centralized location and be discoverable for all players. One of the other things that's changing with the approach to Period 3 with the Infinity Hub is that this is where our meta story, what we used to call the present day, will live for all our games, says Côté. So in Period 3, we're going to be better caretakers of the meta story on the franchise through Infinity, as this story will live asynchronously, but concurrently, with all of the games that will be on the Infinity Hub. Assassin's Creed Infinity, development. Instead of being the endeavor of a single arm of Ubisoft, the publisher confirmed Infinity's a collaboration between multiple internal studios. Ubisoft outlines Infinity as being headed up by at least two teams, run by two creative directors. Clint Hocking, Splinter Cell and Watch Dogs Legion, will lead a team out of Ubisoft Montreal, while Jonathan Dumont, Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Odyssey, head up the crew at Ubisoft Quebec. Hawking's team, we now know, is working on Assassin's Creed HEXE, while Dumont is working on Assassin's Creed Red, two of the games which will be on the Infinity Hub. These two teams, and the games they produce, will ultimately be overseen by Marc-Alexis Côté, who's become executive producer of the entire Assassin's Creed series. One of the top dogs at Ubisoft and a senior member of the Ubisoft Quebec team, Côté worked on Brotherhood and Syndicate before moving to upper leadership positions at the company. We've seen for years now that Assassin's Creed games are slowly shifting from single-player games into something a little more connected, and a little more fluid in terms of how content is layered upon each successive release. First up, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood added competitive multiplayer into the mix, while Black Flag added a fleet management metagame that continued playing while you were away from your console. Assassin's Creed Unity experimented with cooperative multiplayer missions, while Origins introduced weekly challenges for players to tackle. Assassin's Creed Odyssey expanded its story with monthly content releases. Meanwhile, the latest game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, will be the first to see its campaign elongated by 2 years' worth of downloadable content support. How Infinity will play out is an interesting prospect, and we're still waiting for more specifics. What we do at least know is that it won't be free to play. During a 2021 earnings call, via VGC, Ubisoft confirmed that Assassin's Creed Infinity won't be among the upcoming high-end free-to-play games it spoke about earlier in the year. This makes sense given it appears that Assassin's Creed Infinity will be made up of games which are purchased individually. It's not going to be free to play, and this game will have a lot of narrative elements in it, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said. It's going to be a very innovative game, but it will have what players already have in all the Assassin's Creed games, all the elements that they love to get in them right from the start. It's going to be a huge game, but with lots of elements that already exist in the games that we published in the past. In addition, Ubisoft confirmed that Assassin's Creed Infinity is still in early development. So it's unlikely that we'll get our hands on the game for some time yet.